My name is Nate Otto. I live here in Anoka, Minnesota, and I go to school at Anoka Ramsey studying my AA degree. Yeah, when I moved to Anoka a few years ago, 2009, I actually moved just down the road from the old lyric arts theater that was in an old cabinet shop, and the marquee is still there. And I googled it thinking, what is that? That's interesting. And not being familiar with the area, I discovered that I was still just down the road from the theater that we use now. Yep, I moved here 2009, and in 2010 I auditioned for Nick Tickle Fairy Tale Detective, and I was in that show, and I've been auditioning for shows here ever since. It's acting something I've done ever since high school. I was involved in the drama department there at Irondale High School in Mounds View, and I did 4 shows a year there, and I was involved in almost every one. So that was really good to get me involved and started in learning about theater and acting. I started metalworking and I guess just basic tinkering about 10 years ago when I was a wee lad and wanted to build a go-kart. Of course, knew nothing of it. So an uncle and I, we together tackled both the process of learning welding and basic metal fabrication, and throughout the process of a summer we were able to go from a pile of steel tubing to a working go-kart, so that was pretty neat. So when Young Frankenstein, during the audition process of Young Frankenstein, Brian came to me and he asked, would you build the lab table for Young Frankenstein? He'd been to my house and he'd seen some of the work that I've got displayed there, and he said, I know what you're capable of and I want to see what you can do. So for Young Frankenstein, the lab table, he asked me to do that, and then the lab ray that was used in that show I offered to do, and then I offered to do the props for Christmas Carol, because once I heard steampunk I thought, that's right in my wheelhouse, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
What I like about steampunk and kind of the mentality that entails is the idea of multimedia, and to me steampunk isn't just metal and gears, it's also wood, and it's things that are reused, at least in today how we see steampunk. The idea of trying to create technology that is more than what's just seen is really neat to me.
Yeah.
I'd say it took about a month to build that and put that together. And I going into it, I didn't know what I wanted. I just knew that I wanted a lot of moving parts. I wanted something that looked confusing in its function and in its movement. And through several found objects, I was able to achieve that by connecting them all mechanically. And I was pretty excited to make that happen. And then the lab ray was an afterthought. I thought, we need to zap Frankenstein with something. There's nothing there on the table that would do that. So that was something that took about a week to build. I was pretty happy to pull that off before tech. I hate to say spending so much time on these things. It's a blessing and a curse. I get attached to them, and kind of putting them together and figuring out how they work and even maintaining them. We start to get a connection with them. So a lot of them, they stay at my home, and either if I get sick of them, I take them apart for parts if need be, or I'll sell them off as they kind of wear on me. But it is fun to still have them continue to live on and show them to friends and still get people to think and kind of think outside the box at that. It's a hobby and a part-time job restoring the player pianos. We had a player piano, and we still do, at my family cabin near St. Cloud. So as a kid I grew up with one, and to me seeing it play, it was always magical. And actually this spring I rebuilt that piano as it had fell into disrepair. It's about 100 years old, and I was fortunate enough to go through the process of rebuilding that, bringing it back to life, and actually converting it back from electric to originally it was a pump player piano. So now it's totally original like it was, and it still continues to entertain our family. And it's been in the family, about 60 years.
Wow.
It's neat to be sitting at that player piano and pumping with your feet and hearing this wonderful music, especially since I can't play piano. It's really cool to think that this doesn't take electricity or even any fire or anything like that. It's cool to think just coming from your legs. Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity for letting me share my artwork. I appreciate it.